All right, we're on. All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for stopping by and coming back. It's the Ash and Iron episode 4. It's 4, right? Wow. That's amazing. Well, thank you anyway. We have Buffalo Bill H1 on Instagram, aka Bill. And he's got a new upcoming YouTube channel also, AFPD. He's got some amazing gun content on there. And then we have Ian. Double tap 1911 with his bourbon and a cigar, because it's not 100 degrees outside where he lives.
Only 83.
And he's enjoying it.
I am.
So, hello, gentlemen.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, that cigar looks good. What are you smoking?
Well, I tell you it was a proper Cuban, but I don't want to get arrested by Bill. But it's not. It looks like a Cohiba. He doesn't taste like a Cohiba. But it's called a Cuban Round Taste of Havana Maduro. And I discovered these at a local liquor store. They were going for a great price, and I just bought one at a gamble, and it really suits my taste buds. It tastes like a proper Cuban cigar, because being from England, I once had the ability to smoke Cuban cigars. It wasn't a problem. Since coming over here, it's not so easy. But this has the full body flavor. Frankly, I'm amazed it tastes this good for this price. This is the Tesis of cigars. Yeah, this is the Tesis of cigars. Yeah. So, but it's when you come over and visit, Pete or Bill, when you guys come over and visit, I will get one of these cigars out and I will smoke it in front of you and tell you how great it is.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're a real pal.
Hey, you know me, man. Now we can smoke some of these cigars together. So when you come over, we'll sit out, we'll smoke some cigars like these.
Yeah, hey, I gave you good ones.
You will like this one. You'll like this, I promise you.
Cool.
Yeah, well, if you want to unload a T-sauce or the T-sauce of cigars, I'm good either way. Don't let the price fool you, right?
Exactly. Well, the price did fool me. The average cigar goes for $9-10 now. That's just the cheap ones, $8-9, and it was $2.99. And I thought, wow, it's going to taste awful. And I bought one, and I thought maybe I got a weird one here. So I went and bought a couple more, and they were just as good. And I'm like, in fact, I shouldn't have said this on this program, should I? Because now they're going to put their prices up, and they're all going to get bought out. But it was a very rare find, and I've got a stash of them. I guess sometimes you can get a great deal for not a lot of money.
Just like a Tesis.
Just like Tesis. Yeah, just like Tesis.
And just like that single 6 I picked up today, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
are a couple of things I'm watching.
Here's the story behind that. Ian called me, and he thought I wasn't paying attention to him. My phone was about to die, and I was getting like every fourth word. And I heard him say then that was a question. I was like, dude, my phone's breaking up. It's going to die. I didn't hear anything you said. So he was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. And he hung up. I went to go inside, plug my phone in, it died. And it took like 10 minutes for this thing to friggin' boot up. And by the time I got back to it, it went for 500 Colt 1903 1907 build, so it was Type 2.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have the Browning patent on the slide, so it was a Type 2. But early 1903, it went for, hammer price was 550 bananas, and I was pissed. And then I was looking at an 80-40. I was looking at an 80-40, and I guess this guy wanted it worse than I did because I just put a stupid price out there and he bid past it. So I was like, "You could have it. I don't want it that bad."
Mhm.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the next, like two later, I saw this beautiful stainless single six in 357 from 1977. So that's back when they made guns. They didn't just assemble them. So I should have that in a week or so. So I'm excited
So you bid and you won the bid, Peter.
for that one. Yes,
Nice.
I lost the
Congratulations.
quote because my phone died.
Well, you know what?
It
The
wasn't
rocky road that leads to, we all know that song, and just I think it
yeah,
wasn't
my
even
wedding
meant to
song
be.
actually.
I forgot you have a sense of humour. Yeah. But you know what? I think fate was shining on you because your phone ran out of power. You couldn't finish that bid. The bid went to more than what you wanted, and now
No, the bid was less than what I wanted.
oh well. I'm just trying to make you feel good. That's all.
No, I pissed you off. I didn't get the gun. I wound up with a revolver. So 1 out of 3, I guess.
There's nothing you could do to piss me off. There's nothing you could do to piss me off.
Well, if you don't like revolvers, you know a guy that does. So, I'm sure there could be it could reside elsewhere if you just
Oh,
use
absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Nothing
I've got a
in
great
life is
idea.
permanent.
I've got
Nothing's
a great
permanent.
idea. How about Pete gives you that revolver and you give me that JSOC?
And what am I getting?
You get our love and our gratitude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
That's what it's all about, the brotherhood. Stay lucky, Tiger.
We have to get Ian a revolver. He thinks he doesn't like them.
I do like them. That's my problem. I do like them. I fired that 357 Magnum the other day at the range, and the guy said, do you want 38 Super in there? And I'm like, do I look like a 38? So it's 38 Special. I said, do I look like 38? I said, I want 357 in there. And I was expecting this thing to blow my hand off. I thought it was going to be a hand cannon, but it was very nice. It handled, and I thought, I'm going to put this away. I'm going to take it back to the counter because if I keep borrowing it, I'm going to buy one. I really liked it. So I do like revolvers. It's just I can't get into revolvers in the same way as I've got into these things because I will bankrupt myself. So I like the revolvers.
Yeah, revolvers are a lot more than TSOS.
Yes, they are, and that's it's like getting into Colts. All of a sudden, the ones that I like, the large roll marks in the 70s, the early 70s, they're all going for 700-800 start, and then they all roughly finish around 10, 1,000, 1,100. It becomes an expensive hobby when you start buying them. You keep buying them, and I think revolvers will be the same for me.
All right,
So for the time being, I'm keeping away from them. I'll just let you guys. You guys spend your money on that side of the hobby.
no, thanks.
You can, yeah, it's no better in the revolver world. Now, if there are revolvers, obviously, that you can spend less money on, but if you want quality, new or vintage, and then sometimes there's good deals. So, you kind of have to be a smart shopper. But we could hook Ian up, no problem, and he wouldn't break the bank. Although it may start another affliction.
Yes.
And he's correct about that because it can happen.
Yes, it does happen with me.
A wall of Colts and a wall of Smith & Wessons, and, you got this corner's full of TSOS, and that corner's, full of Ruger and Colt revolver. I mean, yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, and the Berettas it's already happened to me with the Berettas. I wasn't going to get a Beretta, and then Pete forced me to get an M9, and I loved it. I knew I would. I loved it, and then I got the 40 caliber version, and I love that. I put all the changes on it, changed all the springs, the triggers, and then I got I got the 84 Cheetah, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 84 BB.
Yeah. I took that to the range today. I had the mainspring changed on it. It fires like a dream. The double action now is incredibly low pressure, and it just fires superb. I took it to my gun guy to work on because normally I can take guns apart and clean them. I didn't want to take this one apart. I didn't want springs to ping out and me not find them. And it was easier just to pay for my gunsmith to clean it properly, check it over, make sure. It was an 88, I think. Make sure that it was fit for purpose and safe. And I fired it today, and it was fantastic. So I like Berettas as well now.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's another one. If you buy one, you're going to want to get another one. There's just something about those, and I find that the cheetahs are really that way, or for me anyway. You get one, oh hell, I got to have another one. I got to have one in 380, got to have one in 32, and then you're looking at other variations or variants. Now 80X is on the radar, and
No.
and so like
Nope.
you can't have one of them.
You don't want the ADX.
You don't think so?
I know so.
Talk to me.
It's not my favorite Beretta by far. It's a gritty trigger. It just doesn't. No.
Well,
I'll save your money.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. I did handle one at the NRA meeting, or a couple, and it was one of the desert tan ones or whatever they're calling that. Pretty nice, but then one that had Landon tactical treatment.
Oh,
that was. Yeah, but I know we're in another category at that point. So yeah, I know. But
yeah, out of the box, they're all. I mean, Berettas and Bruschettas. He had something on there a few months ago. He was asking if he wanted us to wanted. He asked us if we wanted him to do a review, and I guess enough people said yes, and he bought it. So I side chatted him, and he says if you got a Springfield or not a Springfield, if you got a Smith & Wesson Shield or something like that, you'd be better off.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't.
It's not his cup of tea.
No, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, anything Langdon touches is absolutely amazing. So, I mean, I'm sure.
Now, the factory one. Now, to be fair, it probably had 1,000 or more trigger presses over 4 days. Because everybody was standing around manipulating all the guns at all the booths. So, if there was anything, it probably got scrubbed out. But the Langdon, of course, their stuff's on another level anyway. I have that 192 from them, and it's just superb. But yeah, I will take that under advisement as I do my window shopping.
If it's LTT, but you know what, Ian got all of his springs and trigger bars, and I made him buy some stuff for his 92. And go ahead, Ian.
I got the springs from Wilson, and then I bought the tactical bar from Langdon. Now I bought the springs and the replacement trigger for both the 9mm and the 40. I only purchased the Langdon tactical bar for the 9mm, the M9, and it makes a difference. But one thing I noticed on the 40 caliber, it has a far sweeter reset. It's the trigger, the reset on the trigger on the 40 cal is not quite as good as with the Langdon tactical on the M9, but it's better than the standard M9. And I remember talking to you about it, and you said, I wouldn't even bother getting the Langdon tactical bar for the 40 cal. You don't need it. The 40 cal has a much greater kick to it than the M9. It's quite noticeable. And you benefit from that longer trigger reset, in my opinion, on the 40. But I changed the P spring, I changed the trigger, I changed the main spring housing spring. I changed that, and they fire superb. So, Bill, I've got a question. There's two things for you, Bill.
Okay.
First of all, I heard you use the word superb. Now, I wonder where you got that from. Okay, who you know says that all the time or writes that? Yeah. But
I know one gentleman. Okay.
Yeah, one person. Yeah, I'm teasing you. But what I really would like to hear, and I think our viewers would love to hear, and if you're okay, giving sort of a few minutes, just tell us about your experience at the NRA, because I'd love to hear your experience, you and your wife's experience. Buffalo Billet. We saw some photos, and it looked fantastic. And I'm signing up to the NRA, and I'm going to go to the next NRA show. But for our viewers, I'd like to hear from you about your experience, if you don't mind.
Well, it took place at the George R. Brown Center this year in Houston, which is quite a large building. I think my wife said over 2 days we were there, we walked like 16,000 steps or something. I don't know if that's a lot, but yeah, we walked our tails off. But anything that you could think of, that is related to the industry, they are there. A SHOT Show is kind of like for wholesalers, vendors, businesses, and then you have the public attends the NRA show. And all manner of firearms, all the major manufacturers there, all the support gear, anything you can imagine. I mean, they had stuff to, they had people that sold patches and stickers, clothing, and stuff to clean your eyeglasses and your optics lenses, all the way up to the major manufacturers, Colt, Smith, Beretta, Winchester, everybody is represented there, and they have most of their latest wares are on display for you to put hands on. And of course, we went by, we looked at as many guns as we could, and then you have the kind of the niche, some of the niche custom places, some of the places with training aids, places that sold targets. I mean, you name it, that was related to the firearms industry, the shooting world, it's there. And so it was a great experience. We tried to walk by every single booth and just see what was there. And we stopped at a lot of them. Didn't spend a ton of money. You could. Obviously, you can't buy firearms directly from the manufacturer. I think Davidson's Gallery of Guns was there. So if you wanted to, make an order for something that you saw there, you could do that, have it shipped to your own FFL. Had food on both ends of the building, stuff to drink, had plenty of coffee, so I was in good shape. But it was and they have a media row. Well, have radio people from television, people doing podcasts. People have dedicated booths. There were people, I think you can rent one of those booths if you want to do a live podcast or a recording. So, that was available. A bunch of people that we all recognize, a bunch of the gun riders, people in the training world. I didn't go up to meet them because I didn't want to be that fanboy. It looked like they were getting enough of that. But, we're talking about Langdon. Ernest was there. Saw Bill Wilson 3 or 4 times. Michael Bain, a bunch of the other gun riders. Yeah, but his time was taken up. And I'm like, who am I? But the opportunity to shake somebody's hand, it does exist. But I don't. That would be cool. But they had plenty of people wanting to visit with them, and they have their own business that they're trying to accomplish while they're there. So, but yeah, that was pretty interesting in that regard. Larry Weissoon, if you're the viewers who are familiar with him in the hunting world, and his home country is my home country, stomping grounds. And, it's like, oh, it's good to see those guys. And, it's just a neat experience. If you've never gone, and you don't have a problem being around crowds, it's a good experience. You ought to go do it. You're going to see more than you can take in one day. They have it for 3 or 4 days, and to really do it adequately, we took 2 days, and we could have probably gone a third and still see more. But all the big stuff we wanted to see, we got to see. And talking about the crowd, the nicest people. I mean, you have conversations with perfect strangers. You have conversations with people in the booths, the different vendors there, approached by strangers. I had 3 or 4 people come up to me, and we struck up a conversation because of the mustache. I mean, not that that's special, but it's like, hey, I love your mustache. And then you start talking, and like you have things in common, and the people were super friendly. It was superb, Ian. It was absolutely superb.
Super.
Incredible experience, sir. No, it's a good time. Joking aside, it's a good time.
What would your top 3 vendor booths be?
Good question.
Well, I guess it depends on. Well, everybody was friendly. I think every place I went to, and they, you're not one that. I got to think about how I want to say this. They have people that come up and they're like a certain stereotype, like a gun store customer, and they're very polite to everybody, and come up. But I'm having a real conversation, a real question, and every place they were just fantastic. And I know that's their job, but a lot of genuine people there.
I wanted to see if you were there.
As far as stuff to see, I went by and looked at lots of firearms. Got to lay hands on some new Smith offerings, some new Colt stuff. Went by the Ruger booth, of course. Went to Langan, went to Beretta, and they all had like their top stuff out there. Of course, they had their less expensive stuff. Went by the Glock booth and ran into one of the nicest people. I had a nice, just a real nice conversation, and then standing back and watching everybody work, not just at their booth, but everybody. There's a lot of good people involved in this business, and they a lot of genuine. I say care for the customer, but I mean, if there were a bunch of fake people there, I didn't run into them. I'm sure some of that they have to do that. And then one of the fellows at one of the booths, you could tell he's kind of having a long weekend, and I don't know if he didn't have a lot of sleep, or maybe he had a couple extra beverages, or I know they're on the hook for a number of days, and it's a long haul, and I get it. And I said, man, we're not those kind of folks, man. You can relax. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you need to duck out and take some Advil, or you need to rest your feet, don't worry about us. If we got a question, we'll holler at you. And then he kind of relaxed, and they'd been putting in some hours trying to get there, and then put on the show, and gear up to go home. But then we had a nice conversation after that. Like, he's a real guy. We're real people. And you kind of related on a different level with a lot of folks there. So the people working there and the crowd in attendance, it's not like a lot of other conventions. It's a lot of like-minded, good people. And so that was a highlight for us as well. But seeing all the cool stuff, getting to put your hands on all the cool stuff. The new 92 variant that came out, and that, of course, everybody was lined up to see that, and yeah, and the crowd wasn't overwhelming. Saturday was it was a full house. We went on Friday. That was the day to go. And we didn't go to any of the meetings or anything, but we just strictly took in the exhibits and tons of stuff to see. Anything that you need, a whole lot of stuff you didn't know you needed. It was there. I think for me though, like I personally wanted to go lay hands on a number of firearms, and I got to do that. I got to talk to some people, ask some questions, and everybody was very accommodating. So it was a good experience all the way around. Even parking wasn't bad.
Right. It's things like that. It's little things like that that become big things. That you get there and it's a pain in the butt. And you get there in some of these places and they want $60 to park. You've got to walk 3 miles to get there and things like that. It's just stuff like that leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I think the parking, the most expensive garage nearby was, now this is Houston. It's not Atlanta or Orlando or any of the other places. It's, I think the most expensive one was $45 a day. Ours was $30. But there's of course, it helps being somebody who I go to the city there all the time, and you know your way around a little bit. One of the garages has a kind of a sky bridge that goes right into the hotel and the convention center. So you park, you get on the elevator, and you just walk on the carpet all the way to the exhibit hall. So, so it was really easy in that. And then Saturday, it rained and poured, so we stayed dry, and that was good. And there was a little water, and Houston streets are bad about that. But if you kind of know where to go and where to avoid, that helps. But even then, it was not a problem. So that if you had to go to the NRA, that's not a bad place to go.
Thank you for that, because that's for someone that's never been and that is interested in going. I think you gave a really nice description of your experience, your and your wife's experience. And for non-NRA, I mean, I take it you have to be an NRA member to get in there.
Well, but it doesn't cost you anything. Register for free, and you just show up. If you need to get a hotel, there's a number of hotels around. So not a problem. If you didn't want to be right there downtown, you could go out somewhere a little cheaper, a little further out. And for us to get there is, I don't know, it's about 50 miles, give or take. So, an hour in, as long as it's not rush hour traffic, easy peasy. But there's the Houston metro area, you could get a decent hotel for a much cheaper price and have a short drive in. And
where's it going to be next year?
I think it's in Atlanta next year, and I think it's in Orlando, down there by Pete, the following year. But don't hold me to that. But that's what I thought I read. But I've slept since then. So
yeah, well, that's going to be a popular one, Orlando.
Yeah, I would think so. But next time it comes to Houston, Ian, there would be no excuse for you not to come down.
Sure.
And then.
No excuse for me. I'll be there.
Yeah, you got to come join us, and then I got a place where we could sit outside and have a fire, and of course, it might be like now. It might be, 95 degrees like it is where you are, Pete. It does happen down here too.
It was beautiful. Yesterday it was 75 and beautiful. That's why I was like, all right, we're gonna have this. I'll sit outside by the pool and we'll have a nice view behind me. And no, 95, and it's not even. Well, it's probably starting to cool down. Our hottest peak is between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then 3 and 4, it starts to cool down, but not always. So right about now, it should start start cooling off a little bit. But yeah, I would have been dripping sweat, miserable. So I'm in my office.
Uh,
That works.
Yeah, gee, I got a great idea. I think Pete, you and I should go and visit Bill, and we can do an Ash and Iron recording of the three of us at Bill's, and then when you come over to see me in Dallas, Bill can come up, and Buffalo Bill Billette can come up. We can do an Ash and Iron together. That'll be a nice thing. We can actually be on one screen together.
that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so
Keep doing, and we'll do Atlanta next year and Orlando the year after.
yeah. By the way, Peter, just as a quick timeout, I take it your wife's back.
Yeah, why?
I can hear her. I can hear her talking.
No, that's my daughter.
Oh, for
That's
someone
my
so
daughter.
small, she's got a big voice. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen her. She's 100 pounds soaking wet.
yeah, yeah. I can hear that. I mean, Bill, thank you so much. I mean, for someone that's not been to an NRA show, I've got no excuse not to go now. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to sign up with them, and that's going to be. And I love the fact that the people that have businesses can go there, and they can trade. Like you said, the SHOT Show is out of reach of a lot of people.
Right.
You know, it's very difficult. You've got to be an FFL or something to get in there. It's just not available to the public. And I get it. It's for the trade, and they keep it for the trade. But I think the NRA show is a great idea. It helps support a smaller business. There's a smaller business in this industry that's something that appeals to me.
And then you have, you know, it's kind of like you said, the SHOT Show. That's the trade, the actual trade show. But then you have the NRA, which is for the public or for NRA members.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but the public, in that regard, it's a public show. It was a great time. I know some people, they go and then they kind of fall off because they've seen what they need to see. But there's always new stuff. And man, of course, I guess this last year and this year with all the stuff with the ATF and some rule changes and their suppressors. Buddy, if you wanted to look at suppressors and ARs and all that kind of stuff, it was there in abundance too. And not that I'm not really in the market. However, you could go and actually look at stuff. You could put your hand, you could ask questions about things. You could see their offerings mounted on different kinds of guns, and kind of up front, close and personal, you could see what it looks like and ask questions about how it operates, and different about gas system questions or whatever, and so all that kind of stuff was there. All the Timmy tactical stuff was there. All the FUD stuff was there. I mean, it had it covered from one extreme to the other, and everything in between. And like you guys, I'm all those things. So like every booth you walk by, man, I got to stop and see what they have. And just it was, for me, being a gun guy and liking a little bit of it or a lot of everything, it was I wouldn't say overload, but like it's hard to take that in a day or two. Just so much stuff to look at.
I think you painted a great picture of it there, Bill. And I for one, am certainly going to go there. And I love the way that you brought into that conversation suppressors, because we have someone on here that has just got himself his first suppressor. And so this a perfect way to lead into this conversation, Peter. Tell us about yours.
Oh, it's nothing.
It's nothing, but I've got it down the side of me here.
I got my whole range. Oh, that scared me. That scared me. got it for 3 days. Called the ATF. I lost it.
Oh,
So, like I said, it's not a big brand name. It's Sylvan Arms. They're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 6-inch can. I think it's printed, and it had you could unscrew it, take out all the baffles, clean it, and I had a blast with this thing today. It's I can't do this on camera, but I was just curious just to see how this would work on the 32.
Right.
All right, so you all know I got my little my 30X here at the other day, so oh, I can't do that on camera. YouTube don't like that.
So that's on live, isn't it? I thought YouTube doesn't like it on live.
I'm not taking any chances.
No.
So this thing, it's twice as long as the, as the pistol, and but it's like shooting air. It's like I mean, this is like a suppressed 22. I did a little video on Instagram. I was like a kid at Christmas when I left that range. It was just so fun. It was louder than I expected on the 9, but this was fun as hell. So if anyone has the means to get the 30X from Beretta, and you have a 9mm can, it's absolutely it's awesome. Yeah, it's just a fun little gun. I had an absolute blast with this thing today. So, but like I said, I mean, this was, like I said, it's my first one, so I didn't know. I've used them, friends, whatever, but not my own. So I think this was 410 bananas at my local place. Ian, the proceeds from that tea sauce went to this. So thank you.
That's your sister. Anything for a brother. So
Absolutely.
can you talk us through the process of how you got through the hoops of getting a suppressor? So for someone that, like myself, that doesn't own one, or anyone that's watching this, how would we go about that process of obtaining a suppressor?
It's really, I mean, they have them everywhere today, but my local FFL has them, and I was in there when I dropped off that tea sauce to get shipped, and I was just looking around, and I said, listen, I was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I was like, because I've never done this before. I says, I have this much to spend. What do you got? And he went into his case and he pulled this out. All right, so and I was like, okay. It was a Saturday,
Right.
not yesterday. The Saturday before. I went in and did all the paperwork, fingerprints. It was about 6 o'clock because it was late. I was working, whatever. Got an email from the ATF on Wednesday. Right, it was approved. You do have to set up an e-account, atf.gov. You have to put your driver's license, concealed permit, and all that information. You have to have an account set up already. Even if you don't use it, they have all your information anyway, so why not? So, but if you do it, when you go down there, you need your username, which is a code, coded it with part of your name and some numbers. The email address that's listed on the account. I needed my driver's license, and I think that was it. And they have a machine there. They put the prints in. They click a button and off it goes. And like I said, 4 days later, including a weekend, I got a phone call. It was I got the email and they called me that day. I was approved, so just went and picked it up.
So a couple of questions for you then. The first one is: do you require a license to carry or a concealed license carry license to get a suppressor, or can you get one under your constitutional carry rights?
It depends on the state. I'm going to say that, but I know in Florida you don't need one. Suppressors are legal to own and possess if you have the right paperwork. All I know is I have to have this on me when I have that. I mean, it's still in my pocket, but this is the actual stamp. I'm not going to put it on there because my address is right below it. But I have to have this. I got to make more copies of this and put it everywhere. They're now starting to take a digital, like a screenshot, because basically it has my name, the serial number there, my address, all my information, when I took possession of that, who I took it from, my FFL, and that tax stamp that I paid no taxes for, but they still call it a tax stamp. So
Understood.
it's a registration stamp, basically. But,
And
that's
you should
another
have that
conversation.
on you every time you carry the suppressor. You should have that on you.
Yeah, I have to. I have to be able. If it's in the car, I get pulled over and they see it for some reason. If I can't present this, I'm in trouble.
Of course. Okay, so it's reasonable. I mean, there'll
Oh
be
yeah,
some
it's
that
definitely reasonable. I mean, if you don't have any criminal history or like I said, I mean, this is. I mean, if you could pass a background check for, because most of the questions on this form are the same ones that we answer, at least here in Florida. I know it's a little different, but those list of questions that you have to answer when you fill out the 4473, same things on there, except the FBI gets your fingerprints to make sure you're not wanted, and they do a background check that way. Like I said, mine came back in 3 days. I don't have anything on me. I mean, so I was quick. It was like, I mean, they told me it was taking a week to 2 weeks for them to get stuff back. So the fact they got it back in 4 days, I was happy.
I know you were telling me you was nervous about that bank robbery you did about 3 years ago. It obviously hasn't caught up with you yet.
You're hysterical. No.
So another serious question for the viewers then is: let's just say, like you did, you walked into the FFL and you saw the suppressor for sale, and you said, "Right, I want that." Just quickly talk us through step by step, very quickly. What indeed would you? What are they going to say to you? Okay, so what are they going to ask you for? Fill out this form, show us ID. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it's not even a form anymore. You have to pay them first. Of course, they want the money. And then when you're done, they take you. At least my guy had everything in the back. It was private because I mean addresses and everything there. They took me to the back room, printed me, put everything in the system with the ATF on the e forms, and like literally clicked the button. I was done. I don't know, for some reason it didn't like my fingertips, so it took a little while to get it scanned digitally. But if I had good skin, I guess, I mean, I would have been out of there in 10 minutes.
So they basically walk you through the process.
Yeah, you don't need to know anything. You just say, I need to buy this. What do I need to do? And if you have a good FFL where you are, like I said, my guy's down here. It's Wild Wild West Gun in Dundee and here in Florida. So awesome bunch of guys, really friendly. I mean, I'm in there enough. I mean, I walk in there and I mean, they're always breaking my chops just like they do at every other gun shop. So it's yeah, it was, like I said, it was stressless. And like I said, I just happened to check my email and saw something there from the ATF and status change approved, and I was like, cool.
Right.
And after work, went down, picked it up, and like I said, in Florida, you have to do a transfer, even though it's passed by the ATF. You still have to do 4473. I don't know if that's the same in Texas, Bill, but you have to fill out they don't do the actual background check, but you have to fill out the 4473 to take possession from the FFL from the suppressor. So the ATF says I could own one. I got the tax stamp, and like I said, they don't run a background. They just have it on file that it was transferred, and that's the only way that they could do it. So it's like you're getting double a double background in FBI in Florida for me. But
It sounds a very quick process, though.
It is, like I said. I really was expecting a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just told me that just to, because it's out of their control.
You know what?
Like I said, 4 days I got a call, and like I said, the email. I went Saturday, it came in Wednesday.
I think there's something about Florida that's just quick with paperwork.
We have our own background check. We don't use NICS.
Yeah.
So, but we use the FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They have their own background checks for Florida residents. I think it's a little more strict because, like I said, I don't have anything, and I'm out of state. Well, I was born out of state. Everyone else that I know that's born from New York, it always comes. I mean, it's gotten better. I mean, it took today took. The other day when I went there to get this, it was, I think I was back in 4 minutes. I mean, there's days I've had to wait an hour.
I think Florida's a quick state. I would say that the state that myself and Bill are in, Texas, things aren't so fast. My first experience of that was the paperwork. I've lived here for just under a year now, and the paperwork with regard to changing your license and your registration for your vehicle was drawn out, and it was slow. Getting a license was terribly slow. You had to get just a driver's license. You had a certain amount of time to achieve it, and then you had to go into a system. You couldn't talk to a human being. And that was a byproduct of COVID, and they decided that they enjoyed the fact that people couldn't call them anymore, and so now you could only go through a system that gave you an allotted time and date. And it was like a lottery. Every day, if you went onto the system, you could sort of find something that was a little bit closer to you and a little bit sooner, and you could swap and take that option, and then it would release you from the other option that you had. And slowly, as days or weeks progressed, you could sort of move your way up. But it took me nearly 60 days to get a driver's license. And when I went in and got it, they took the photo, and I said, "Where's my license?" And they said, "Oh, you get a paper license. We don't send that out. We don't give it to you now." And I'm like, "Are you joking me? You know, other states can do it." And they said, "Yeah, and it's in black and white as well. You know, we don't do it. We can't give you a color license, and we can't just print it right here." Now, no big deal. But when I travel a lot, and when I got to pick up a rental vehicle, my paper license, temporary paper license, the guys at the car rental, they had a meltdown. They didn't like that at all, and I had to go and beg and pull some strings. Otherwise, I was marooned at this airport. And they said, "We'll let you through this one time." But it took almost an act of Congress to get it through. So it's slow. And the same thing is occurring for my concealed license. I sent the information off, and months and months and months ago. And I call them up every couple of weeks, like, "How's it going?" And they're like, "Well, you know, it's come back. We found out that you're approved to live in this country." I'm like, "Well, that's what my green card was for. You know, I sent that to you." And they're like, "Well, we had to check that." And I'm like, "Well, if you couldn't trust one piece of officialdom, you know, no wonder you're so slow." And I said, "Can you give me another idea? I mean, it's been at least 2 months." And she said, "Maybe another month." And I said, "You know, do you UPS it to me?" No, we just send it out in the post." "So what if it gets lost?" "Maybe another 3 months, you get another one." So it's slow as molasses here in Texas, which is very surprising.
Well, as far as your driver's license, you all drive on the wrong side of the street in the UK, so I don't blame them for not wanting to give you a license.
Driver's license, yeah, but my concealed carry license, which we're talking about,
right.
Maybe
I knew that was going to be a problem for you being from another country.
Yeah, the concealed carry license is taking forever, and they're very nice. You know, you call them up and they say, "Listen, you ticked every box, you're absolutely fine. It's just we are going to take our sweet time to process this and deliver it to you. And I've sort of got used to the fact that I've got maybe another month. So that could be 4 more ash and iron presentations. So I think when finally my concealed carry license from Texas arrives in the post, we can have a special celebration on ash and iron. That will be a momentous day. But yeah, apparently I am good. They've approved me that I'm officially allowed to be in this country. That my green card is legitimate. It's taken them 2 months to prove that. Most people will just look at it and say, "Yeah, it's a green card. You're officially allowed in this country." But I guess that's Texas. It can't all be great.
Ian, that, of course, in our line of work, if we need to verify that, we can verify that quickly. But the wheels of bureaucracy in Austin turn incredibly slow. Very slow.
And Dallas as well.
Yeah, and well, being the headquarters of everything in Austin, it just goes at its own pace. And many times the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Agencies that ought to work together, they're not in direct communication with each other. And I don't want to beat them up too badly, but, bureaucracy and red tape is bureaucracy and red tape, and you're finding that out.
Yes.
In your own way. So I'm not surprised. Excuse me, I was going to say, in my profession, acquiring a license to carry is pretty easy because I meet a lot of the criteria, and it's I don't want to say it's a fast track because it took them a month to send me mine.
Right.
And I'm already vetted through my profession and licensing, but it still took I know it was like close to 5 weeks for it to arrive when I first got it.
Wow.
Takes a month to my driver's license too. So,
well, the last time I spoke to them, I actually said, "Look, I'm a friend of Buffalo Bill, and you should put my license through extra quick." And I don't think that worked very well. I think that irritated them more than anything. So I don't think I'm going to see my license any sooner. I was trying to leverage you and Buffalo Billet's name against and said, maybe you should do a bit quicker.
Yeah, around here the effect. It might be marginal at best. In the capital, probably not. I'm not like-minded compared with those folks.
I think her comment to me was, "Is that guy with that mustache?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I see him." And they went, "Oh no, we're gonna make you wait an extra 6 weeks now."
Probably so. Oh, that guy. Yeah, let's give him an extra.
Yeah, that guy with his own YouTube channel. Yeah.
That guy.
In Florida, and I'm going back 20 some odd years, I've had my carry permit, and there was a lot less people here in Florida, but after my class and the paperwork, I sent it after the safety thing, and you got the NRA certificate that you did it, and I mailed it up to Tallahassee. I had the permit back in my hands within 2 weeks.
Yeah, funny you should mention that, Pete, because my wife is from Florida, and she keeps laughing about this. She did her concealed carry a number of years ago, and she said, "We didn't even have to live fire." I was like, "Are you serious?" And she said, "No, it was an live fire event. We answered the questions, we filled the forms in, we listened to them for about an hour, and then I had my license a week later." And I said, "You must be joking me." I said, "Texas, I had to sit through nearly 9 hours of this guy droning on about stuff that he was losing me. It went into such detail with regard to the law, and I understand it, but people were sitting there asleep at their desks, wondering when they were actually going to get to the live fire. I would say that my concealed carry course, and this was held at Arlington Range, USA, it was close to nearly 10 hours. A 10-hour course. And, what was interesting was that the live fire section at the end, that dragged on. It wasn't just firing at a target at a set distance. It was firing at one distance, then another distance, then firing in a certain time, then doing it they really did make a meal out of it. And one of the people got thrown out. They didn't know what end of a gun to hold. Some people couldn't shoot at a barn door. And I remember the guy.
That's scary.
It was scary, and the guy came up to me, and he said, "You are one shot under perfect. How come a Brit can shoot better than most Americans?" And I said, "Well, I practice a lot." And his words were, "Well, I'm glad that you got one score under perfect, because I don't want you to be labeled as an assassin." I wasn't sure if he was joking with me or not, but it's a very, if I can make one piece of advice, get your concealed carry in any other state than Texas, and then migrate and bring it over, because it's a long, slow.
It don't work that way. It's not like a driver's license.
Yeah.
Wow.
It depends on where you go. There are some really great instructors that deliver the material in an efficient manner, but there's no way to know unless you hear by word of mouth. You can take the classroom portion online today.
Yes.
And and you can kind of go at your own pace. But if you get one of the instructors like you had, and they're boring as hell to listen to, and they take all day to deliver the material. Now, I don't know how long the course is supposed to be now, but even if it were an 8-hour course, so a good instructor will deliver it in a way that is compelling and keeps the attention of the students.
Yes.
And, I have a lot of years working in the classroom, and you better keep their attention, whether it's fifth graders or it's adults or whatever. And that has to be part of your technique and your management. And if there's anybody who's an educator out there, that they know exactly how to do those things. They receive the training. They have to live it every day, and they know what we're talking about. But my wife has been encouraging me to say, "Why don't you teach that? Why don't you do that?" Well, I haven't hung a shingle out as an instructor, even though, like outside of work, or doing it with family and friends and stuff, or, like some local groups. But being out there as an instructor to the public, well, I've always wanted to be in the instructor side of things and teaching side of things. And I've had other things going on in my life. I had a whole separate career as a musician too. So that hasn't, and you had kids at home, and it's just me and them, and you got all these things going on. But I would love to be in the industry in that end, to retire and do something else along those lines. But she keeps poking me with a sharp stick. Well, maybe you should do that, and then you can teach me. And, well, I'm already teaching you. No, but you could take me through the class. Now you probably need to do that with somebody else and get another perspective, another viewpoint, and then go do some training, some professional training with some of the top names. And we have those discussions, but maybe I'll get into that, and then I'll probably have that all completed by the time you get your LTC, Ian.
Yeah. Well, this time next year. Yeah. I mean, you made a very good point there. Being trained by people that know you is not always a good thing. I mean, I'm from England, and I took my driving lessons at 17 in England, and it's a hard, complicated test. The test over here in the US, I couldn't believe it. I mean, you could turn up drunk and still pass. And but in England, it's a tough test, really tough, particularly when you're when you're a 17-year-old. But as always, you pester your father to take you. I did. I pestered my father for him to take me out on some driving lessons, and I realised very quickly that was a bad idea. We didn't never get on that well. We were way too alike, and being in the car with him instructing me was not good. And my mother said to me, if I was you, just get some private lessons from an instructor that doesn't have that same sort of relationship with you, and you'll learn a bit quicker. And I did. I passed first time. I don't know how, but I did. I passed first time. But sometimes training with loved ones isn't always the best way,
No.
And it's one of those things. You just got to. I think taking the test, doing it properly, is with the right people is paramount.
Absolutely. Of course, my wife and I, we have a good relationship in that regard. And it's easy for me to not be the husband, but be the instructor. But at the same time, I'm just one guy that only knows what he knows. And maybe that's a little, maybe that's a lot, but there are people out there you can train with, and that's their livelihood. They're recognized in the industry. It's like, go take some classes with them, because they're going to take you to another level, or they're going to say things in a way differently than maybe what I said, and it's going to be a light bulb for you. Oh, I get that now, because it was framed in a different way, and then different techniques, different ideas, different stuff, and you just start putting all that into your toolbox, and you glean. It's in music. It's the same way, taking lessons from different players to get better on your instrument. You take from different instructors, and you glean all the good from that, and you incorporate that into what you're doing, and eventually what comes out is you, but you've been influenced in all these ways, and whether it's techniques or it's ideas, concepts, whatever, and it's like fertilizer from everywhere else to help you grow. And you just don't want to feed one certain food or one certain thing. You need, if a plant's going to grow, it needs food and water and soil, and needs all these, sunlight, all the stuff. If you just can't just have one and make it work. And maybe during this part of the season, you should feed this, and during that part of the season, this other season, you feed this. You can conceptualize it, I guess, however you want to, but I think shooting is much the same way. If you only train with one person, you're only getting one view and only what that person has to offer. There are other people who have a lot of stuff to offer that might be quite different, or it may be similar but said in a different way or demonstrated in a different way, and I want her to go do all those things. Hell, I need to go do all those things too, because I'm not a finished product by any means. So
I get it, but you get your favorites, and this takes me back to when I was 20. I was doing I was doing the same thing that Chuck Norris did, the Tong Soo Do, his version of karate, the Korean version. And I started doing that, and we had I was living in England, and I was going 3 times a week, and I got quite good at it. But I had a particular instructor that I liked, and I remember for a few weeks they brought in a different instructor, and I hated the way that he taught the lessons. Absolutely hated it, and I stopped going. I felt I was probably young and naive and a bit immature, and I stopped going. And I kept checking to see if he was no longer around. And he's got this. He's doing this week and next week. But what we found was that quite a few people had stopped going, and the master had asked around and said, "Why are you not going anymore?" And they said, "Because it's not you. You're not training it the way that we want to be trained by you and your way." And so he asked the guy to no longer train us, and we all came back. And Chuck Norris actually did that. He had such a following he did Tang Soo Do, and he was actually responsible for the first official breakaway from the official federation of the Tang Soo Do from Korea. He had such an amazing following of people that he basically set up his own federation, his own splinter group. So I get it. People become incredibly loyal to the people that teach them. They don't like it when someone else, and like we say, we should embrace the uncomfortable, shouldn't we? You know, that's the ideal way. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Embrace something different. But that doesn't always work.
Right. Well, and there's nothing wrong with having favorites. And if you feel like you're being fed, you know, at that place, and you're getting what you need, that's great. You know, if we go to a shooting class for 2 days, 3 days, or a week, okay, it's just a week. And if it didn't turn out to be your thing, or you didn't care for it, well, you don't have to return to that, because it's you're paying kind of a per service type thing. But you're right. There are people in the shooting world, and some of them have a tremendous following, and every time they're close by, or people will travel to go take their training.
Yeah.
And that's good. And there are people who offer something that's worthwhile and it's worth every penny. No problem. But I'm always encouraging of somebody trying something else. I mean, you know, if it's somebody they're not vetted, or they've been vetted and they're a complete jerk, or, you know, there's some reason that you don't want to go, well, you're not forced to do that. But we're fortunate that in the shooting world, there are lots of people that offer fine instruction. A lot of known players, and there's a lot of people around who might be known locally or regionally who do a fantastic job. They're just not all the names that we all know all across the country. You know, so you might have a local guy or gal or somebody that's, you know, like, and they run a tight ship, and they do a good job, and we'll go train with them. Go take some stuff. Go take a lesson. Go to one of their classes. You know, so I'm encouraging of her to do that, and hopefully she's going to get it. Start going to the girl with the gun stuff. Hey Pete, she did connect with the ladies group.
Good.
At the NRA, they had a table set out front, and she stopped by and talked to them for about 15 minutes, and got some material and things, and that seemed like that was the people there were incredibly nice, and they had a nice conversation, and I stood by talking to somebody else about something unrelated, and like, wow, just a bunch of nice people. But so trying to get her connected, and they have some events that they do around the country, and I think I want to go to that. I think I want to. Well, hell, go.
Yeah.
Don't ask me about it.
Yeah, go. Good for her.
Just go.
Yeah.
Good for her. I'm happy.
Just let me know. Hey, I'm going here. Okay, be safe. Let me know when you get there. You know, cool. Do it. And go get some other perspective.
Yeah. That makes me happy. I'm glad she did that.
Yeah, so, and I meant to tell you that the other day when we got back, but she listened to what you said and took your encouragement.
No, thank you. That's the first time anyone's ever done that.
Yeah, well,
I'm not used to people listening to me.
Yeah, they when they do, they tend to spend lots of money on Berettas. That's their problem.
that happened. Yeah, well, you know, Pete, I'll tell you, like somebody told me a long time ago, God loves you and we're trying. So,
Yes.
trying.
Amen.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, yeah, we'll have to have a little celebration when you finally get that in the mail, Ian. And we can all sit around and have a nice beverage, a fine smoke.
I think it will coincide with Christmas. I think it'll time just right with Christmas the year after
Maybe.
next. And, I mean, you know, but my FFL, every time I turn up, is like, have you got your license yet? And I'm like, no. He's like, it's so much easier, for us to process you through. You don't have to go for the NICS check. We just check you. And I'm like, by the time I have my license, there'll be no more guns for me to buy. I nearly bought, apart from that JSOC that you're going to give me for the same, but that's money when you pay for it, of course, Yeah. I can't believe you got that JSOC and you had to rub my nose in it. I was like, I
helped with the rubbing, so.
You're always furtively in the background, sort of stirring it up a little bit.
He's the one that poured the fuel on that fire.
Yeah, tell Ian he's gullible. Yeah, he'll buy it.
Well,
Test fired.
That's it. Only 200 times. That's all.
Yeah. That's nothing on the JSOC, so.
No, I think it's got less than 50. But as soon as I get it, I will share some photos and get it to the range, and we'll have a report. And
I was
let you know.
I was really pleased for you as well regarding your Colt Special Edition, the SEA one. You reported that you had the same experience with regard to the gritty trigger, and like I said to you, I guess it's the sear, and you looked at the sear and you did your own relief cut into it, and you've got it working just great, yeah.
It's working. It was like you said, bent over a curb, I think is how you described it, or something like that. It was cut with sheet metal shears. It kind of had that. And, actually, when I was tweaking on it, I cut my finger, and I cut it enough that I realized I was cut. It wasn't just like a little scratch.
Right.
It's like, hell, this thing is sharp and rough as hell. So I got a file and smoothed it out.
Great.
And went through the adjustment process, and it's going well. I think Pete asked me, I don't know if I ever answered you, see if I had some side-to-side movement in the trigger.
Yeah.
There's some slack in there with that.
Okay. Well, something's okay. If it moves a lot, then there's a problem.
It moves more than I think it should, but taking it to the range, like that, the trigger pull, it's much improved now.
Right.
So
Awesome.
And way to go, Colt. They on Instagram, I saw that there was a video doing the rounds, and you see this lady, hand fitting the parts of Colt, and there's some people that are oohing and ahhing about it, like, oh wow, and others are like, that's why their guns are so rattly, and I made a comment, and probably Colt's got the hit people out after me right now, but I made a comment of, you wouldn't need to do this propaganda if you actually got your stuff straight. If you, and they showed a bucket of parts, sears, disconnectors, triggers, and you see her taking a bit from everyone, and I thought, if you guys actually did some quality control, if Colt actually overlooked the products that they bought in, probably for 50 cents a piece, they've probably beaten some supplier down to next to nothing, and so the quality's not going to be there. But if they just invested in some of those small parts, we wouldn't be having these conversations, And I went on there and I thought twice about before I hit the send button. I wasn't rude, I wasn't provocative, but I was truthful. And I thought, you know what? If someone challenges me on this, I've got two brand new Colts that I have the evidence for of how bad the quality control is of modern Colts. The bluing's fantastic. The fit on the frame to the slide, pretty good. The disconnector, the sear, the parts that are in there, actually in it that really make the difference, just trash. And that's until Colt decides that they're going to start bringing those parts in, or quality controlling those 50-cent parts, those 25-cent parts It's not going to hurt them if whoever's manufacturing them says, look, we're going to charge you 15% more. Instead of charging you 12 cents per sear, we're going to charge you 38 cents per sear. But we guarantee that they're going to have a relief cut. We guarantee that they're going to be of quality. We guarantee that the disconnector's not going to have excess material on it, that the end user, the customer's going to have to file away. But we're going to charge you an extra 15%, a few extra cents. No one's going to notice that price difference. The end user isn't going to notice it, but what they'll notice is the quality when they pull that trigger. And maybe the new CEO of Colt, the woman that's now in charge, maybe she has the ability to listen to this and make a difference. Or maybe Colt will continue being there. I still love Colt. I own 9 of them. 7 of them are pre-2020, and they are fantastic. 2020 onwards, they're just not so good.
And that's a shame because they're capable of doing great things. And I've said it before, when Colt does it right, man, it's good.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. And I've been a Colt guy for years and years, decades. Hell, since I was a kid. And then I've owned a number of Colts over the years. Never had one problem until recently.
Yeah.
And, you look at a Colt Sear from years ago. It's kind of like Nelson Ford said they're the best in the business. Well, they were. And they can be. I thought about, I'm going to order maybe a packet full of Sears and just have some on hand, or send them off like we were talking about last week, and have the treatment done to them. Shouldn't have to do that.
No.
I mean, I don't mind upgrading to high quality parts. But now Colt, they were the stuff for years. You got a Colt, that was I know some of that's the name, but there was a time where the name, it lived up to its legacy. And it's awfully hit and miss now. And when you get a good one, they are solid. I'm not questioning that.
I agree with you.
I love Colt, and I want to keep loving Colt. And of course, everybody says I'm a Smith guy. Well, I have a thing for them too, but that's a whole different conversation. But I think everybody today, all the manufacturers are struggling in one way or another in that regard. And maybe that's not having enough eyes and hands on the guns as they go through. Other companies have less problems. Some companies are having tremendous strides in improvement with their quality control. So somebody's getting it somewhere, and I would love for Colt to do the same, because if you get a fantastic Colt, maybe I'm nostalgic, but you get a Colt that does all the things a Colt's supposed to do. Outside of a custom gun, what else do you want? I'm not berating any other companies like, Kimber, for example. Boy, they're on the way up. They had their valley they went through, and they seem to be hitting their stride now, and I'm all for that. And there's a couple of their guns that I'm interested in.
Me too.
It's not about choosing one over the other. I want everybody to be successful. As we've all discussed this before, if everybody is doing their best, that's the best for their business, and because it's the best for the consumers. And if you're making a high quality product, people are going to want to buy it.
But the thing with Kimber is they were garbage for a long time, but they recognized it, and they made steps to improve it, and we're seeing that now.
Yes, we are.
Colt is just so arrogant.
Yep.
Making believe there's nothing wrong, nothing to see here. It's all in your head, and people on Instagram and YouTube and everything that are Colt drunk, and oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and Colts are great, rah rah rah. And I mean, I could think of a dozen people just off the top of my head that have had Sears that look like the one like yours and yours. I won't buy one. I refuse to. Now, I've heard too many half rifling in the barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the bushings don't fit. They're not shooting straight. Why am I going to give them my money? The hell with them.
Absolutely. And the problem, I think, is more than just cult quality control. I think what you've got is a problem with some of the people in cult. I think some of them have been there for so long.
You hit the nail on the head. And like I said,
so
I don't want to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to start a war with union, non-union, but Connecticut is a strong union state.
Yeah, you can't go in there. If you went in on a Monday morning and said, guys, you've really got to up your game. You know, we're a great name, but you're slacking. You know, you're letting this lack of quality go through. They'll walk out on you.
Yep, they'll have the shop stewards on. Yeah.
Yep, you're out of business. You're out of business.
Colt needs to do what all the other manufacturers did and leave the Northeast and come to Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, relocate. Get new people that really, like I said, Timbers in Alabama now. Look at them now. I mean, they're putting out good stuff.
That's the thing. And look, let's talk about TSUS. Their quality control is A1. Their products are A1. And they're low cost. Now, why is that? Because it's made out in Turkey. The cost of manufacture is low. The rents are lower. But there's none of this messing around with unions out there. You know, if you start messing around, and I'm not saying it's the right thing. What I'm saying is that if you turn around to the staff and say, you're not doing your job properly, they don't go out and strike. They'll apologize. And they'll learn from it, and they will improve their game. It's a different culture, and B, you'll bury them out there. You know? Whereas over here, you have to rub their tummies.
But that's the problem. It's not. It's the old guard.
Yeah.
The old people from the union that have been there for 30, 40 years.
The dinosaurs.
They'll tell you, they don't like. Fuck you. I'm doing it my way, and you can't, as the owner, you can't do a goddamn thing to them.
Yep.
All right, because they're protected. So that guard needs that. That's what needs to change. But where do you fill them? Connecticut is very liberal state. All right, very not gun friendly state. So where are you going to get people that went to Sonoran as an institute, or there's a Pennsylvania gunsmithing school? They're not going to move to New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut to drive to work and have to pay all those taxes for that. It's not worth it. So where are you going to find these people? In the South.
And if they're training people, their own people in-house, that doesn't seem to be working out.
No.
When you look at the end product. Now, if Colt decided to move to Texas, and they wanted to be close to shipping and freight centers, and I say they want to come down to near Houston, for example. If they needed somebody to be spot on with quality control, I could retire and go do that.
Yeah.
Ian would walk in with his bag of Sears that he got from his gun guy, say, hey, make them like this, please.
Put them like this. Yeah. That's 90% of their problems.
We're going to up our game.
Yeah. I'm going to give 3 examples.
Half the people we know would volunteer for that job.
I'm going to give 3 examples of customer service that I've received this last week. And I'm going to let Pete decide whether he wants to edit this out, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've had 3 different examples of quality of customer service. The first one was with Wolf Springs. I put some orders in, and they didn't turn up. And I sent an email just saying, can you advise the status of delivery? And I got a rude email back, basically saying that, didn't you read the memo, or didn't you read the notice on our website that we're running slow? And next time, pay attention, you fool. We'll get round to send them to you. And so I wrote back and said, that's not really the right answer. You know, telling me it's my fault that I didn't realise that you guys are running behind is not the right thing to say to a customer. And if that's your attitude, cancel my order. And so I got a very quick response from them, and I thought, oh, this is great. Someone up high has read this and is going to respond in a customer friendly value. And they said, order cancelled. And I thought, all right, there you go. That's their response. That's their God complex. That's their response to someone turning around and questioning their quality control. They cancelled the order. You know, their business, they don't need my business. And so now I'm telling people how poor Wolf Springs customer service is. I'm sure they make a great product, but their customer service is a AAA. Awful, awful, awful. Now, the next one was Wilson Combat. And I bought one of their spring packs, and it had the 6 springs for a 1911 in there. And I opened it up, and it was missing. It was missing the mainspring housing spring. There was 5 springs in there, not 6, and I thought, maybe it's my mistake. And then I realised that the tape on one side of the pack had been cut open already. So someone had taken a spring out, most likely. I doubt very much that it hadn't been put in there. Maybe that spring had been taken out, and maybe it had been sent back and someone didn't count them. But I called. You can't call them on a Friday because they don't work on Fridays. You have to call Monday to Thursday. So I phoned them Monday, and this guy, polite guy, old guy, answered and started giving me all sorts of hell. Why did I not count them? You know, when did you buy these? I said, well, I think I ordered them in February. Well, why didn't you go through and count them then? I said, it wasn't my job to count them. He said, well, why didn't you notice it? And I said, well, I opened one pack back then and I treated one gun. I said, I'm not a gunsmith. I'm not doing 3 guns a week. I said, they're there in my tool pack, my parts box, and I'll do that. And he was like, well, you should have counted them. And I lost my temper. I got really quite annoyed with him. You know, who do you think you are talking to me in such a manner? I'm actually calling you up and telling you there's an issue. And instead of saying, you know what, thanks for letting us know. We'll get a spring out to you and really appreciate it. Here's a free sticker. This guy was giving me a hard time, and it was only after I lost my temper with him that he then started playing the innocent, the offended. I'm only asking you questions, he said. I'm only asking. I said, well, don't ask those sort of questions. You're insulting me. I'm taking the time to call you. And if you think I have enough time in my day to get on the phone and talk like this with you, you're wrong. I'm calling you because I wanted you to know about a problem. One business to another. And when he said to me, right, oh, so you're in this industry? I said, yes, I am. His attitude changed. Maybe he thought, I don't want this guy going in and saying something bad about us. And so he said, we'll get a spring out to you. And that spring turned up in 2 days, literally. So it just shows you that they can give good service, but you've got to go through a few bumps and bruises and a bit of an insult game on the way.
Yep.
But then I phoned up a third company, and this was Streamlight. A part had broken off. I'd had it fitted to a 10mm, a Springfield XDM Elite, and the recoil was probably a bit too strong, and it snapped the bar that retained it. And I've been putting it off for months, and I rang them up, and they said, oh, we'll put you straight through to customer service. And I called up customer service. I spoke to customer service, and they said, yeah, okay, we'll send the parts to you. And I said, aren't you going to argue with me about it? He went, what? No. He said, it's under warranty. And I said, no, I'm serious. I said, I've just had a conversation with another company that made me jump through the hoops. And he went, no. What's your email address? And I told him. He said, hold on. And ping, an email came through. He said, right, send me a photo of the part, or send me a photo of the light, and tell me what you're missing, and it's on its way. Is there anything else? I'm like, no. He said, thank you, bye. The parts arrived within 2 days. Now that is what I call A1 customer service. They couldn't get me off the phone quick enough to help me. They helped me, they solved the problem, and the parts came in, and guess what? I'm using the parts now. So I'm going to let Pete decide whether he wants to edit this out or not. But that's what this is why we're rational and we don't care. What I would like to say is that Wolf Springs, Wilson Combat, Streamlight, A1 service, A1 customer service, and I'd hope that people listen to this and they get the credit that they're due.
Well, I got a negative on Streamlight. I didn't even mean to bring this up, but since you poked the bear.
Now we're here to talk about it.
All right, the TL7, whatever the hell this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm used to getting these, putting them on, tightening it, and it's done. I put it on, tightened it, and it was loose.
Right.
So I was like, okay. I tightened it more. I couldn't crank down. It was tight. It just wasn't good. Look in the box. There's it looked like an erector set with plastic pieces. 1, 2, 3, 1913, 1, 1913, 2, 1913. I said, what the hell is this? They actually made me read the instructions.
Oh, you're not good at that, Pete. I can assure you.
No, I don't. I mean, especially when it comes to something like that. This should be idiot proof. This should be Peter proof. You take it, you put it on, you tighten it.
That's cool, man. That's a tough school.
They have different plastic pieces, and I wish they're outside. They have different plastic pieces depending on how long your rail is to make it fit correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
That shit? It's plastic. They used to have a bar in the middle, and where you tightened it, that's where it stayed. Done. Now I got this plastic erector set that I got to play with, and
now I know what you're talking about.
That surprised me. That surprised me.
Well, I think it's for the Glocks as well, and the Smiths. I think they have all those. I mean, I've used exactly that, and I found the right part.
Here's another one. All right, it's that's the 7.1. Here's the 7X for the Glock 43.
Right.
All right, that line, that bar right here, that catches on. I don't know if you, right there, right here, that catches on the rail. All right, that should be on this, and it's not. It's flat. It's smooth. All right, you have to put this piece of shit plastic on here and try to slide this on the gun without the plastic moving, and then tighten it down. This I got 6 months ago.
Yep.
This I got 6 days ago. All right, it's like two different manufacturers. And this is a cheap, shitty one for the Glock 43X. It's not even a big one. This is a freaking tiny one. You would think this would be the shit one and this would be the good one. But, oh my God.
I think in fairness, though, I see where you're coming from. I think in fairness, though, that's not a customer care issue, a customer service issue.
No, that's a quality issue.
That's a design issue.
Right, but you brought up Streamlight, and that just hit the nerve. So
yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Well, what I'm saying about Streamlight is their customer service that I experienced was A1. I could not. I've never had such quick and efficient customer service from them. Maybe I got the right person on the right day, but I see where you're coming from with regard to the fact that the product is overcomplicated to fit.
But it's not the same quality as this was half the price of that. And this one has the way it's always been. You put it on, you take it, you put it on sideways, you lock it in place, you turn the little screw thing, and it's done. Not with this one. You got to put plastic pieces in there, and I don't know. That just aggravated me. That was my tangent for today.
That's cool. This is what this program's about, is tangents.
Tangents and rabbit holes, and who knows where.
Oh, rabbit holes. Yeah,
that's what we should change ourselves.
We have PhDs in rabbit holes.
Yeah, instead of calling ourselves Ash, no more Ash and Iron, we're now Tangents and Rabbit Holes.
Yeah.
With the occasional rant thrown in.
Oh my God. No, but that just Surprisingly,
Rant.
I mean, I always use Stream. I've used them for years. And like I said, I don't have those on every gun because my carry gun, I don't want to have I don't want to point a flashlight at somebody that's on the end of my gun. That's just me.
Mm,
Everyone's different. All right. If I have that light on, it's for a reflection, and then if I have to use it, I engage. That's
yeah.
what that's on there for. My flashlight. Oh, yeah, Streamlight. Another one. Streamlight. This light is freaking amazing. I could light up my whole backyard with this little light. All right, Streamlight, great product. All right, and there was no plastic pieces. You put the batteries in, you screw it closed, you click the button, and it's good. And it even has the strobe.
Right.
All right, that's always in my pocket because I'd rather have to point that at someone than have to point this to see something goes bump in the night. It could be my daughter coming home at 2:00 in the morning, which I kick her ass for, but I don't want to have to point this down the hall to see if it's her. I want to make sure this is with me, and then I use this if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did. Yeah, that I was really shocked because they usually make great products. I've had this thing for years. Dropped it, beat it, kicked it. Max has picked it up. Not running with it. It never fails.
If it's max proof, then it's pretty safe.
Yeah, well, they got to make it Peter proof, and we'll be all right.
Yeah. That's a tough call, man. I've been trying that for my products for the last 6 months.
Yeah, my wife's been trying that for 20 years. Good luck with that one. Over 20. So,
That's funny.
Ian, your TSOS, or an hour and a half, your TSOS that you got from Donald through me,
Yeah.
show us what you did. So
Well, I thought you were.
I'm going to set the backstory.
Yes.
I bought this gun from a mutual friend of ours for a really good price and got it. And as Ian says, it was never fired. It had like 50 rounds. It had like a box of ammo, which really isn't like not being fired. And I was going to make a twin for my 38 Super, and I just wasn't feeling it. And so Ian called me one day, and I guess I was just in the mood. He asked me if I wanted to sell it, and yeah, I transferred it out to him and out to Texas, and I got my suppressor, and he went and sandblasted his own damn gun, which I'm kind of jealous about. But so
Yeah,
that's how I got to you. So let's see this thing.
So, a bit of a quick backstory. I've hot salt blued 3 of my pistols, and they have come out almost too perfect, and they've become almost safe queens. I sort of don't really want to fire them. I do fire them,
No such
but
thing.
they're beautiful. They are truly beautiful. And when I came and visited, it was a few months ago now. I was talking to you about I want to try my hand at a different bluing, and you'd been rust blued and nitro blued, and I said to you, look, I'm lazy. I don't think I can go through the pain of rust bluing, and you said to me, well, why don't you do cold bluing? It comes out nice. And I said, well, what about if it wears? And you said, just put some more on. It's easy. And that just hit my natural lazy British state. And I've now cold blued 4 pistols. I started with the model 1911A1, which is this is the one that Josh or Traveller has, and I sort of made it. He rust blued his, and I did this as sort of a tribute. It's identical, absolutely identical. And I looked around for this, and I found one, and it was going for a reasonable price. They're hard to get now, but my first attempt at cold bluing was pretty good. Like it wasn't bad. A few mishaps, and then I got from a guy on our Patreon forum, a guy called Crackalactica. He sold me Norinco, but he sort of, as part of the deal, he threw in this Rock Island, and he referred to it as a god awful Rock Island. And
It was at one point.
I guess it was, and the nickel. It was all nickel, but the nickel was coming off, and it fired really nice, like Rock Islands do. They're just a bit goofy. They're not not true Browning spec, but I kept some nickel parts that were in good condition, and I cold blued this, and this was my second go at cold bluing, and it came up really nice, better than the first one. I then bought a mil-spec, a Springfield, my very first Springfield mil-spec. I've never owned one, and it was going for a very nice price on Gunbroker, and I was very surprised. I was really pleasantly surprised at how well this fired, and now I understand why people love Springfields. They're well made. They fire. They're a bit more on the more expensive side, and they have min parts in them, which is a shame. But it's a great firing gun, and I found myself taking this to the range more and more often. I really enjoyed it, and I thought, you know what? It had that sort of parkerizing on it, and it had a brass mark all the way down that was sort of disappearing, but I couldn't get rid of it. And I thought this is a perfect candidate for cold bluing number 3. And I put in a Colt trigger. I kept a couple of the dark black parts. I kept the stainless barrel, but number 3 came up almost perfect. I was really pleased. And then yesterday, this is the one that Pete sent to me, sold me. All of these have been sandblasted, but this one was sandblasted, and I changed the way that I prepped it after sandblasting, and I modified how I cold blued. I've got a new system with the way that I do it and the timing and everything. And I put it in the oil last night, and it's been in the oil for about 11, 12 hours. And this morning, I took it apart. I changed the springs. I've got a 16-pound Wilson spring in there. I changed the mainspring housing. I changed the sear, but the other springs I kept the same. And it looks superb. There's that word again. I'm really, really, really pleased with the way that this cold bluing came out. It's not as dark as some people have, but I like it. I prefer it this sort of blue. And I'm finding that each progressive gun that I treated has got slightly darker each time with the way that I do it. But I took this to the range earlier today. And as we know, this has never been fired, or at least 50 rounds maybe. And it fired fantastic. I made sure that it was lubed up, heavily lubed. I didn't want that running in process to occur, and it just fired like a Swiss watch. And so there it is. This is the one that
was the black Cerakoted T-Stas A1.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. And it's come out
originally.
It's come out as a blued example. And I've got a few more that I'm going to do. But I also picked up recently this T-Sauce. And this is a weird one. It's a 1911 A1 service special. And it's a little bit of a cross between these style pistols from T-Sauce. They're sort of GI pistols, and the stakeout. It has the stakeout sights.
Right.
It has the stakeout ring hammer. It has a flat mainspring housing as opposed to the GIs that are curved. It's retained the standard beaver tail. I changed the trigger into a longer trigger, and it's black. It really is very black. Comes with a black barrel. I fired this today. It was the most accurate out of the box 45 I've ever fired from T-Sauce. Normally they're goofy for a few to 10, 20 rounds as it sort of beds itself in. I took a photo of the target, and I was blown away. This is going to stay black This is I'm not going to touch this. I've changed some of the springs, changed the trigger, but this is as stock as you get it. And I've changed my sear. I changed the sears in every single one to my gun guy's particular cut of sear. But this is a fantastic. So if anyone's out there and they can lay their hands on a TSUS 1911 A1 service special, this is a fantastic chimera to purchase. And that's it. That ends the lesson on TSUS today. Ended the
I
sermon.
just thought of something for you to pick up on.
Oh yeah.
It was never fired in Texas.
Hey, none of these were fired in Texas. You're right. Yeah. I have been very lucky. Some of them I really can't see if there's any evidence of them being fired. Some have had a little bit, but you just anything under 500 rounds is nothing on these things.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, that was fun. And we didn't hit 2 hours.
2 hours. Wow. So,
It's not every day you go to a gun podcast and hear the word chimera either. So we are operating on another level, a superb level.
yes, and you guys are in the upper atmosphere of my godlike words.
Yeah,
I'm using
Yes.
It's like the ampersand.
Yes. Oh yeah, you caught me out with that one. I'm like, is he having a joke with me? And like I said, you're a lot more intelligent than you look, Pete.
I know.
Yeah.
I like to play stupid. I get away with a lot more.
Yeah, except your wife worked that one out a long while ago. Yeah, you can't get away with that anymore.
Yeah, no, she still thinks I'm an idiot. So
Yeah.
We're not going to tell her any different.
Yeah. But a good idiot is hard to find.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got. Where's that? Oh, I think I put it in the bedroom. My asshole merit badge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it. Yeah, it's on my desk, my bench. Desk, bench, I don't know, it's all the same shit. Damn it. But I did pick up the other one because this like explains. I don't know if you guys can see that backwards.
Yeah, we can see it.
This is my 20s in 4 words.
Yeah, the asshole merit badge. That's
I gotta get it. I was like, those 2 were just perfect.
we have to get Ian. He has to earn his asshole merit badge.
Yep.
It won't take me long to earn that. I promise you. I'm halfway there, Bill.
Well, you might already qualify. We're just trying to be nice on the air.
You've already got one made for me. It's in the post already, yeah?
Yes. Be arriving Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday of November, yeah.
Yeah, well,
It'll still be there before your LTC gets there.
oh God.
Yeah, oh, you probably saw some of those patches, Pete. And, my wife loaded me up and her too. There are a couple I'll have to show you when I get home. And, but that was pretty good.
That's all. That's, like I said, that's my 20s in 4 words. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, guys, it was great catching up with you again, guys.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking this Sunday thing better. Rather than 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday. That's late for me.
Yeah.
I know it's only 10 for you guys, but I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens, Pete.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
It's not the late part is so bad. It's the having to get up at normal hours.
Yeah, I'm
Because
fine with staying up to all hours of the night as long as I don't got to get up the next day. Exactly.
Yeah. Something about being an adult and being responsible.
Yeah, paying bills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to do that, especially if someone recognizes me on here. I can't say where I work, but if they recognize me, I can't say I sleep during work. So
No.
I'm very
Yeah.
productive.
You're like Homer Simpson, aren't you?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, well, we don't want you to sleep at work. We can joke about it, but
No.
yeah.
No, if I do that, I get fired, and then I won't be able to buy the stuff I buy. So.
Yeah, well, that's
We don't want that.
why I am where I am today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Put the coal in the train, go down the track.
Yep.
Just keep
All
shoveling. I'm trying to get a bigger shovel.
Yeah. Well, I got that. That Super 6. That'll be next show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some things that I'm watching, and so if we're still on here in an hour, I'm going to have to duck out.
No, I gotta go eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I didn't even have a bourbon. It's
Well,
bourbon time, though.
Do you have a second hand free?
Well, for bourbon, always.
Okay, well, hey, I say put one in one hand for you and one in the other hand for me, and I'll try to feel it all the way over here.
I'll send a video of me.
Yeah, so,
You are a friend, sir.
Hey, that's what friends are for, Bill.
A fine gentleman on top of that.
Yeah.
Good
all right,
deal.
well, yeah, I gotta go play with this and use that iMovie thing that you were talking about and make this look cool. So
Yes,
that
sir.
works.
Well, thank you.
Well-
Thank you, Pete, for hosting this.
No, thank you guys. Good to see you again.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
look forward to same time next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it again.
Yep.
Okay.
And everyone, thank you for tuning in, and thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.